What's up, everybody? Week 13 was a doozy for some of our coastal teams. We have good, bad, and ugly for the final time here in our Locked On ACC realm. But more importantly than that, Georgia Tech has a new coach, which is nice to see. More importantly than that, North Carolina is going to figure out how to beat Clemson. Or will they? Let's talk about it on today's show.
You are Locked On ACC, your daily podcast on the Atlantic Coast Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's edition of Locked On ACC. I'm your host, Candace Cooper. Thanks so much for joining me and Kenton Gibbs of Locked On Wolfpack today. We are super excited once again to be your host here. We're Locked On ACC podcast. You can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts, and you subscribe to the YouTube channel at Locked On ACC. Type it in, you will find it just fine, and you click that subscribe button to help us get to 1,000. We're at 797 right now, so I need you to help us get one step closer to that 1K mark. Kenton Gibbs is back again, talking about Coastal, good, bad, and ugly today. He got his nice little toe dipped for those UNC Tar Heels to discuss, but I'm sure he'll have more than that as we go through today's episode. Kenton, how are we feeling?
Well, first off, let me start by apologizing. Okay, because, there were a lot of folks who were very disheartened and felt like I was unfair in painting UNC as my ugly for the Atlantic when they don't even play in that division. And for that, I would like to apologize for absolutely nothing. I would do it again. I would do it tomorrow if I could come back on this show and do another Atlantic show where I call them ugly again. Anywho, I feel great. How about yourself?
Is that how you want to start the show?
Absolutely. We're bringing all the energy today because it's championship week, and we're bringing championship energy to this show.
Wonderful. All right, we're going to go over the coastal teams, and then we're going to preview this Clemson-Carolina thing. Here at the ACC Championships, got to happen Subway. We're going to eat some freshness, and then we're going to talk a little bit about all ACC teams, just bare minimum, but we'll go over that in full with AJ Black from Locked On Boston College tomorrow. Guys, listen, good, bad, and ugly. The good of it is, I'm just going to kick it off right here. Duke, 8 games. 8 wins on the season. How about it? One time for Mike Elko, who is fighting for his life, apparently, for Coach of the Year against Mike Norvell, which I don't understand, but hey, what you gonna do? I think Mike Elko is really the guy who has turned things around for Duke in a sense of you just made it fun to be in Wallace Wade again. You made it fun and exciting for those boys to get, dressed out every single week and compete against teams and have a chance. It's not just the ugly we're here, we're collecting checks, we're keeping it pushing. It has been a fun time for the Blue Devils, and anyone who says otherwise is crazy.
I would like to say that I agree with 90% of what you said there, but made it fun to be in Wallace Wade again? When was the first time? When was the last time? Never mind. Anyway,
when Steve Spurrier was the coach.
I mean, they are more recently appearing in the ACC Championship than many teams in the conference. So that's fair. With that being said, I would agree with that. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. That win over Wake Forest. I mean, Wake Forest got the opposite. I know all the Carolina teams care a lot about the state championship. That means a lot to the Carolina teams. I know UNC made state championship rings. NC State had the Our State campaign and all that good stuff. Wake Forest has the exact opposite. Hate to see it, but we're talking about Duke right now. And you know what? Duke has shown up in a major way all season. They showed up in a way that hurt my pockets. So, as much as Nina King, I still don't like you. We still ain't friends. I ain't no friend of yours. I ain't no fan of yours. But that Elko guy, he's game defending me.
Lord help us, Jesus. Duke also had honorable mention Riley Leonard in the conversation for all ACC team. And I'm just saying, Riley Leonard, Drake Maye duels are going to be exciting for years to come.
I mean, I think so. Again, I think that the ACC right now is in a great position in terms of young quarterbacks. I mean, you got MJ Morris at State. You got Moorhead at Boston College. You got Leonard. You got May. You got lots of guys who've shown lots of good things so far this season. And granted, with Moorhead, you can kind of say like, are you good or do you drop the ball off to Zay Flowers? But with all the other three, I mean, hey, they've shown it. And even with Drake Maye a little bit, are you good or do you just get the ball to Josh Downs? But the reality is, the ACC.
Wow, that's what we're doing.
Hold on.
Two bad games. That's what we're doing.
Let me give you a stat. Let me give you a stat about Josh Downs and when he plays and the effect that he has on the offense. Josh Downs has only been active and caught for less than 100 yards in 4 games all season. In those 4 games, UNC is 1-3.
So my boy Antoine Green doesn't exist. My boy JJ Jones doesn't exist.
Again, there's only one receiver that has that direct correlation that when he does not get the ball and he don't play well, that offense, that team is not going to go well. 1-3 when he catches for under 100 yards. Don't shoot me. I'm just the messenger. But anywho, the reality is these young quarterbacks, they're exciting. They're good to see. And I'll tell you this. Imagine if Jake Bobo had stayed and Riley Leonard had him. Oh, man, because he's torching it out there at UCLA. So that would be what a thing to see. But again, we're not talking about who's gone and all that good stuff. We're talking about who's here. Riley Leonard is here. He is near, and he is a guy that's going to be doing good things in the ACC for some years.
What's your good? Because you're getting on my nerves already.
I mean, they're honestly and truly, I'm going to say this. The good for the Coastal this week is when I'm looking at the Coastal and I'm looking at all the things that we saw in terms of like, oh, is the Coastal this? Is the Coastal that? The amount of guys that they had make the All-ACC team. Like, regardless, first team All-ACC as well. Regardless of what you think of their competition or, who they're playing, they really did come through strong on that first with a lot of guys on the first team. I want to say that of all the guys who headed that thing up, it would be 2 guys in Baby Blue and Cedric Gray and Drake Maye. But they're the Coastal made a rather strong appearance on the all-conference team, despite some people feeling like they're inferior. I'm some people.
Wait, you don't think that Drake Maye nor Cedric Gray deserved All-ACC?
No. I said they were leading the way. I said that they were 2 guys that, like, you look at it, you say, like, oh, okay.
I had to make sure because this show could have ended right here now.
Now listen. There are some other players who made this that I don't think.
Call to the carpet, or you want to wait for your bag? Because Sebastian Dennis, Kalijah Kancey, who are you talking about?
All I'm going to say is this. There ain't 3 linebackers in this conference better than Drake Thomas. There ain't 3 that had better season than Drake Thomas. They're just it. They're just it. I don't care how you cut it, how you slice it, how you dice it. There aren't 3. Period. Don't exist. And I said it, and I'll say it again. I don't feel no type of bad about it.
We see that. All right. Well, on that note, we can't even give Miami or Pitt a good. They beat the dog out of Miami. Nothing. Eden had no good for real besides, just the Coastal people being on the All-ACC team.
If you would have let me get to the bad, I was going to say I had.
No. We're not. We haven't got to the bad yet. Let me go to the commercial break. Let me go to the commercial break.
Well, then let me just do this then. My 1B was partially Pitt, but also that was, when you're watching a team dominate and when you're watching a team not show up. That Miami team didn't show up at all.
They got a lot going on. Well, let's hold that one. There's a deeper conversation there. I do want to talk about that. But you are right in that I think overall, as much as we try not to give credit, football is a team sport, people. Like, there are guys who are ballers who are just on bad teams. There are guys that do their all and they make good plays and they have all the tackles in the world or the interceptions or whatever, from a defensive side. They're guys who are wide receivers for days. And I'm just like, listen, Josh Downs and Drake Maye can only do so much with a bad defense. I think that Kalijah Kancey and Sebastian Dennis can only do so much with Keaton Slovis behind the helm, So as much as we want to act like, even Yasir Abdullah with Louisville, we want to act like, these guys aren't ballers. Well, really talking about the Coastal here, but you can only do so much with what you got. If one side of the ball is great and the other side is poo, sometimes it's a toss-up of whether you're going to get a W or not.
Yeah, and again, the way that the Coastal showed up, I mean, I don't think anybody would disagree with Marcus Minor making first team. I don't think anybody would disagree with Graham Barton making first team. But again, these are guys that they showed up, week in, week out. They did their thing. They, I mean,
even
again,
Cam Kitchens from Miami. I mean, listen,
I'll give you Cam Kitchens. I'm with you on Cam Kitchens. But again, them linebackers, we gotta have some discussion. Gotta have some discussion.
I hear you, big dog. I hear you, big dog. How was the gift of Omaha Steaks received when you sent it to your friend or family? The quality, convenience, and everything you need to deliver an unforgettable holiday gift experience. Omaha Steaks is America's original butcher since 1917 and a holiday gift that's guaranteed to be loved. The holidays are here, achieving a gifting greatness when you get the gift. Say that 3 times fast. A perfectly aged, tender, and delicious Omaha Steaks. The steak experts at Omaha Steaks have put together a special curated gift packages to help take the guesswork out of gifting and make you a holiday hero. Go to omahasteaks.com and use code LOCKEDON at checkout to get $30 off your order. Send an assortment of mouth-watering favorites guaranteed to impress, like the legendary Butcher's Cut Filet Mignon, air-chilled boneless chicken, ultra-juicy burgers, and easy-to-prepare comfort meals that are ready in a flash. Omaha Steaks is ready to ship your order right away, so shop early and beat the shipping rush. Go to omahasteaks.com using promo code LOCKEDON at checkout. Omaha Steaks is a gift from the heart, a gift that will be remembered with every unforgettable bite. Order with complete confidence today, knowing that you're ordering the very best. Visit omahasteaks.com using promo code LOCKEDON at checkout to get that extra $30 off your order. Minimum order may be required. We're rocking and rolling here with Kenton Gibbs of Locked On Wolfpack each and every day. You can find him talking about NC State. Now, as we're rolling through and talking about good, bad, and ugly for the Coastal, good being North Carolina figuring out how to get some people up in honorable mention, great being Duke figuring out how to get some 8 wins for the season. But there's always some difficult conversations that need to be had, and the bad can certainly be for the fact that, listen, it's really bad and ugly. Bad being Georgia Tech still lost, but it's kind of good that it didn't get beat bad, huh? Mm-hmm. Talk it out. Like Georgia Tech should have got whooped.
They covered the spread by a lot, and
should have got whooped the wheels off of.
Anybody who knows betting in college knows that the disparity in talent and coaching is much greater than it is in the NFL. So you see much larger spreads. I believe that spread was like 28 or 31 or something like that.
Yeah.
They covered.
Definitely in the 30s. Yeah. They did what they had to do.
It's an unfortunate situation to where like this is like a thing that we're celebrating. Like, hey, you got blew out. The game wasn't close, but it wasn't as bad as everybody thought it was going to be.
I'm wondering if covering the spread gave Key that nod to get the head coaching job.
Yeah. I bet. Ask Cadillac Williams how covering the spread gets you.
Do you want to piss me off? Because we could talk about it. Do you want to piss me off?
Hey,
the fact that you all would give that man an associate head coaching job after he took over and salvaged your season is disgusting. The fact that you would hire someone like Hugh Freeze and all that he brings as a human, and not only from his past, I don't care. No, redeemable my butthole. And that was me putting it nicely. The fact that you were going to waste Cadillac's time, and he is a good Christian man, so he is going to do what he needs to. He is called to serve, and he is going to make it right. But y'all are dead ass wrong for doing that to that man. Because when Hugh Freeze gets fired again, and y'all have Cadillac step in again as associate head coach and interim head coach, I want y'all, you know what? See how you got me on the road? I was about to get disrespectful.
I'm gonna just say this.
Don't say nothing because it's terrible.
I'm gonna just say this. Winning cures all. So
I hope Auburn don't win a game. You understand? I'm sorry, Zach. I hope they don't win another game.
If Hugh Freeze,
you're about to make me cuss, so we need to move on.
Let's just, we ACC anyway. Let's talk ACC. We ain't got to talk SEC.
Now you're gonna piss me off.
All I'm saying is this: it's a shame that is a quote unquote good, but I mean, it is what it is.
I can't even concentrate.
I'm going to tell you this. My bad for the Atlantic, and I'm sorry, for the Coastal. My bad for the Coastal is honestly what Miami did up against Pitt. that was just like,
That's ugly. That's not even bad. That's ugly.
oh, trust me, it was going in both. It's going in both. It's going in my bad and my ugly, because I'm going to tell you this. The bad is the actual, like, the bad is what's going on in and out of the locker room. That, like, there's, all these players that are, that leaking stuff via their parents and all that good stuff. That's the bad. The ugly is the result that we saw on the field.
Well, do you think so? Okay, I hear you. Now, when Norvell had his first year, he was going through it. He had his issues with some of the players, and they basically feeling like, well, so you wrote too much dip on your chip there, big dog. I don't know who you talking to, but it ain't me. Like, maybe Mario's going through his first year of, the adjustment. You can't quite get away with what you used to. There's a new, sheriff in town kind of vibes, and it's a different age of college athletics in general. People are running to mommy, who's running to Twitter, and not all the things. Like, it's a new era of college athletics, and maybe there's adjustment on all sides. And so maybe after year one, kind of like maybe in year three, like we're seeing with Norvell and Florida State, things will get to be where Miami is like, puff up your chest a little bit. No, you don't see it.
There's a reason Norvell winning 9 games wasn't my good in yesterday's episode, because those 9s, are they really? Did you win them? Or,
Whoa.
that LSU game, listen, that LSU game, great win. Some of them other ones,
are we still holding on to that? Okay.
Listen, that beating Syracuse without Schrader ain't much of an accomplishment. That's all I'm saying. Beating, you know what? Never mind. You lost to an NC State team that threw about one completion in the second half. In the third, beyond the half point of third quarter. Anyway, we're talking about
you don't like nice things.
You
don't want us to have our mentions in shambles.
I do like nice things. You know what? See,
do you think that Mario is going to help turn Miami around?
Do I think Mario is going to help turn Miami around? I don't know. And let me tell you this. I'm not one of those people that comes into any situation with a conclusion already in mind and then gets evidence to fit that conclusion. I look at the evidence, and based on what the evidence tells me, I generate a conclusion. I don't know whether or not Mario can turn that program around, because I have not seen Mario in this situation. For as bad as people talk about Oregon and how that job, everybody leaves, everybody goes, everybody's had success at Oregon. Everybody. If you coach at Oregon in year 2, 3, all of a sudden you're magically a 9-10 win team. All of a sudden you're in the Pac-12 championship. All of a sudden you're in contention. So I have not seen a team. Oregon is the exact opposite of Miami in almost every way imaginable. In terms of lifestyle, in terms of Eugene, Oregon is a college town, baby. That is, I'm sorry, wait, is it? Yeah, it's Austin Stadium in Eugene, Oregon, right? That's Austin Stadium. Austin Stadium is.
Oh, I don't know the stadium. I know it's Eugene, Oregon.
It's madness. Mm-hmm. It is crazy. That those game days, I've heard one of my old teammates, Dior Mathis, played out there. From what he told me, it's literally like it's like nothing you've ever felt when they're really rolling and good. Miami, on the other hand, plays in a pro stadium, and it's kind of like, oh, this is a cool thing to do, I guess, on a Saturday.
That's because they're bad right now. It ain't always been like that.
But you get my point. Like, this isn't, even when Oregon is bad, it may not be as ruckus, it may not be as crazy. That's still one of the wildest environments in all of sports, not just college sports. So you've got a very different situation that Mario is in, and the tale is still to be seen. I'm not ready to call it one way or the other. And I'll tell you this, if Mario does turn around, I wouldn't be super surprised. But we've also seen a trend of not authoritarian. What's the word I'm looking for? Disciplinarian coaches at Miami do not generally work out. So we've seen him have success before. So is it possible that he has success? Yes. But have we ever seen listen, you're going to toe the line the way I say to do it. Have we seen those guys have success at Miami? I don't know. I'm not sold one way or the other yet.
All right. Well, I hear you. I receive this because again, it's good, bad, and ugly, and it's really ugly over there in Coral Gables. They ain't gonna hold nobody. Hopefully, they'll turn things around because as much as I want coastal teams to do well, even when we do away with both the Atlantic and coastal, I want to see some progress. But as we move on, I know we have to talk about Carolina and Clemson game, but I will say I am very glad the divisions are going away. The coastal definitely needs a break. I hopefully will have more coastal teams in the hunt next year in terms of just being, I hope it's not lower tier where they're all at the bottom. I want better for us as a unit.
I'm gonna tell you this. You want better for them as a unit? Do they want better for them as a unit? I'm gonna tell you right now. The coastal got some things going on that, I mean, again, even the best teams in the coastal, if you put them up against the mid-tier teams in the Atlantic, is like, I don't know. So we'll see. Again, the coastal has a lot of young teams, has a lot of exciting young quarterbacks. The Atlantic has the old guard. They got the old guys that have been doing this for a while and probably ain't gonna come back and probably gonna go make some money on Sundays or go to another team. But the next season, I don't want people to look at next season and say like, aha, this is why the coastal is bad, or aha, this is why the coastal was just as good. But because the teams that we're looking at next season will be very different from what we saw this season. We will never see another season. Let me not say never. We are very unlikely to see another season where Georgia Tech's quarterback is like, hey, listen,
I'm good.
Y'all boys be safe. We got to play Georgia Saturday. No, y'all got to play Georgia Saturday. That ain't got nothing to do with me. Respectfully, that ain't got nothing to do with me. And they lose their head coach. We're unlikely to see some of the other things that I've going on around the conference, which respectfully, we don't need to talk about or address. We're not going to see those things again. The probability of seeing those things happen again, highly unlikely. To have a quarterback that makes you miss Braxton Burmeister. The likelihood of that happening again is not that great. So, I don't want to see people judging off next season saying, oh, see, this is what we were saying all along. And even if the coastal is god awful and the Atlantic completely takes dominion over, that is that season. Okay. And it is, again, we will see if this is a trend that lasts over 5-6 years, then we'll have a different conversation. At least give it 3. At least give it 3 before you like, hey, see, this is what we're talking about. But we'll see.
1,000%. All right, guys, we are talking about North Carolina and Clemson here. Championship game is happening on Saturday, December 3rd at 8 p.m. on ABC. Are you ready for it? Are you excited about it? It's probably been the most lackluster championship game that we've had in a while, but nevertheless, 2 teams coming in off of big losses, and I think Kid can give his opinion. Here we go. I'm buckling up.
2 teams.
Oh, please. Don't be dramatic.
Limping into the ACC Championship. Off of some bad losses to rivals. Last second type losses to rivals. You never want to see this for your conference championship simply for a national relevancy standpoint. Like we've already talked about on this show, every time Clemson loses, everybody else in the conference gets knocked down in tier bowl game. So congratulations, some of y'all 6-win teams. Y'all looking at going.
Y'all going to the Bahama Breeze Bowl.
Oh, I'll tell you what, y'all gonna end up in the bowl worse than that. Y'all gonna,
And Bahama Breeze ain't in the Bahamas. Just if you're not from North Carolina or South Carolina, you don't know. Bahama Breeze is not in.
Listen, all I know is this: if you end up on that Bojangle Bowl in Columbia, South Carolina, that's on you, big dog. But
somebody's going to the Mayo Bowl. That's gross.
I think that this game is going to come down to one simple thing: North Carolina's offensive line. They will determine this game. And I mean that.
See, you say that, and I'm over here saying I think North Carolina's defensive line is going to determine this game because if Will Shipley just runs all over you, it's going to be a long night.
I mean, here's why I say this. Drake Maye is, in week 10, he was Superman. Everybody said, oh, this the baddest boy. No Sam Howell, no problem. This is the baddest.
And he was doing it statistically.
And then all of a sudden,
he became a freshman.
All of a sudden, people said, oh, okay.
He became a freshman. People were reminded that he is a freshman.
People were reminded that he was a freshman. And so, to me, Carolina's offensive line is the key to this game because Carolina's at their best when they're their most versatile. When they have the most amount of things going. Again, I've told you the stat about Josh Downs. That is not just a reflection of Josh Downs. It is a reflection of the fact that Longo kind of leans on Josh Downs because he knows Josh Downs is one of the baddest dudes on every field he's going to be on. And so if we can lean on him, we can then kind of, build off of that. But I'll tell you what, if this offensive line gets beat up on,
this offensive line gets beat up on.
But that's the thing. With a great defensive line like Clemson's, you don't hope to completely negate them. You don't hope to get knocked back to where every rush is, you're going to be 3-4 yards downfield before your back gets touched. That's not what you hope for against a defensive line like Clemson. You hope to contain them. It's the exact same thing that I said about NC State in terms of playing Drake Maye last week. I said, you're not going to stop him. You're not going to make him look trash for an entire game. Make him look regular. Make him look human. I am charging North Carolina's offensive line with the same task this week. If Brissy and Murphy and company are on Drake Maye's behind like a dog on a postman, it's going to be a long day for Carolina.
And look, I'm not saying Clemson's defense is better than NC State's because it's not by any means. I'm saying comparatively, they're damn near the same. So if it was a long day Friday, it's going to be a long day Saturday. Ain't much going to change. You're not getting a extremely worse defense.
You're not getting a worse defense overall, but they have more areas that are pliable than NC State. Like, objectively, they don't have a single corner. They don't have a single corner as good as Aiden White. Not one.
But do you have time?
Well, and again, this is why I said they don't need to give Drake Maye time to make a sandwich back there and figure out the meaning of life and write a book and, get his novel approved, edited, and published. They don't need to give him that much time. You need to give him time at a good clip to where he can find those guys. Because, again, multiple teams have shown us the recipe. Wake Forest showed us the recipe. South Carolina showed us the recipe. Notre Dame showed us the recipe. Keep extra bodies in to block and take those shots because their corners are going to fold. Their corners are going to muck it up. They're going to do some idiotic things at the moment of truth that are going to give you a shot. And I'll tell you this. Does Notre Dame have a receiver as good as Josh Downs?
No.
Do they have a receiver as good as Green?
No.
Does South Carolina?
No. Well, what's a boy name? Sparky Wells. What was his name? God, it's Wells. It's something Wells from South Carolina. I want to say it's Spanky, but I don't know. It's something slick, but his smoke, fire, spark.
Oh, Jesus.
Listen, you saying all this about his corners, and now I know these corners about to go have the game of their life. It's going to be a no-fly zone. It's just because you said that. It's just because you're targeting them, you're challenging them. They heard the show, and they're about to have the game of their life.
Listen, they can hear the show all they want, but they still gotta go out there and play some football. And this year, when you have asked those corners to play good football and take away deep shots, they haven't been able to do it.
Yeah, again, that's why it's a championship game.
Wake Forest put up 45 points on these boys doing what? Max protect, take your shots deep.
Ain't no Donovan Green, ain't no A.T. Perry coming out that door.
Okay, but a Josh Downs is coming out that door. A Josh Downs is coming.
An unhealthy Josh Downs who's limping to the finish line.
I don't know if he's unhealthy, but I digress. Anywho,
he's not unhealthy.
I'm just saying.
You can at least take off your cape, take off your state cape for 2 seconds.
Hey, listen.
Bro.
All I'm saying is this. I saw him earlier in the season when he was hurt. Now, I will admit, earlier in the season, he was jacked up. He was like.
So you think he magically got better as the season progressed?
I think that he missed multiple
Ain't enough
games.
PT in the world.
He missed multiple games to get better. What do you mean?
Enough PT in the world. Okay.
Anywho, they have they got a tight end that's good. Although Clemson's linebackers are excellent coming downhill and laterally, but they've got a shot. North Carolina has a shot. Anybody saying that this game is already over before it's decided, you must not have seen Clemson all this year. I have told people all this year, if you don't let DJ get started early, he does not have a lot of confidence. That team doesn't have confidence in him. The difference can be if North Carolina can make this a game late and they keep DJ out of rhythm, they'll be all right. They got a shot. And keeping DJ out of rhythm ain't that tall of a task. I'm sorry to tell you.
You know what? And on that note, friends, come back tomorrow. AJ Black has his own opinions about North Carolina and the Clemson game, and we'll preview that as we go throughout the week. I can't wait. We'll even have Alex Dano and Drizzy Drake here with some betting action. Guys, for Ken Gibbs and Candace Cooper, until next time.